The Middle East is on the brink of a major upheaval. The conflict between Hezbollah and Israel has escalated dramatically, with regional powers like Saudi Arabia and global powers like the United States deeply involved. Saudi Arabia, under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is leveraging strategic pressure tactics, impacting the geopolitical landscape significantly. As tensions rise, Saudi Arabia is not just navigating its diplomatic relations, but also signaling a shift in its global alliances, hinting at a departure from its traditional Western ties. This is particularly evident in the wake of reduced investments from the West in the Neom project, a critical component of Saudi Vision 2030. As this geopolitical tension unfolds, significant developments are also taking place in Saudi Arabia's domestic and international policy landscape. Initially, there was news that the ambitious Neom city project in Saudi Arabia failed to secure even 10% of its expected investment targets, leading to a dramatic downsizing of the project. Following this, Crown Prince Mohammed made a policy statement that Israel would not be recognized until it returns to the 1967 borders and recognizes Palestine as a free and independent state.
Absolutely necessary that Israel accepts that it cannot exist without the existence of a Palestinian state.
As the echoes of this statement were still in the air, the 50-year petrodollar agreement signed between King Faisal and Henry Kissinger in 1974 expired.
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculator.
Under this agreement, Saudi Arabia was bound to sell its petroleum in dollars, and in return, the US provided defense support to Saudi Arabia. On the surface, these three developments might seem unrelated, but they are deeply interconnected. During Trump's presidency, the Abraham Accords, presented by his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, encapsulated the last 2 points, and the Neom project also emerged as part and parcel of this initiative. The project not only received support from the West and Israel, but was also geographically close to Israel. Many analysts, including myself, believe that since the arrival of Biden, there had been a significant change in Crown Prince Mohammed's policies. Recognizing Israel was put on the back burner, and the focus shifted from oil production to not condemning Russia for the Ukraine war.
Leaders of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have refused to talk to US President Joe Biden over the phone in recent weeks.
Additionally, joining BRICS and re-establishing diplomatic relations with Iran through Chinese mediation indicated a clear tilt towards Russia and China instead of the US. Consequently, the global investor lobby on Wall Street and in London showed a red flag to the Neom city project.
Iran and Saudi Arabia are restoring their diplomatic relationships for the first time in 7 years.
Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have confirmed their intention to become full members of the BRICS.
Now, it seems, Crown Prince Mohammed is waiting for Trump's return to renegotiate, particularly on the Saudi-US defense agreement mentioned in the Abraham Accords, where he demanded a comprehensive new defense pact. However, journalists close to Chinese sources report that with the expiration of the Kissinger-Faisal agreement, Saudi Arabia and China were engaged in high-level secret consultations. If this is true, there is a strong possibility that Saudi Arabia and the US might engage in negotiations upon Trump's return, but the nature of the terms and demands would be entirely different. We should not forget that over the past 5 years, Crown Prince Mohammed has meticulously rebalanced his relations with the US, Russia, and China, making Saudi Arabia less dependent on the US for defense or any other matter. When he visited China and expressed willingness to sell petroleum in yuan instead of dollars, the world was shocked because it violated the Kissinger-Faisal agreement. Similarly, establishing friendly relations with Russia and signing arms deals with them surprised everyone. But in fact, he was expanding his space to avoid reliance on a single superpower. While negotiating the Abraham Accords with the US during Trump's tenure, he was also dealing with China and Russia, ensuring no objections from the US. Now, after establishing diplomatic relations with Iran, he is in a position to align with either the Western or the Russian-Chinese bloc, or maintain a balance between them. As for Crown Prince Mohammed's potential choice, it seems that only Saudi Arabia's interests will determine it. We should not forget that the primary reason for not securing the desired investment for the Neom city project is likely due to the signals from the global investor lobby, often referred to as the Bani Yaqub lobby. Therefore, global media suggests that Crown Prince Mohammed's political future depends on the success or failure of the Neom project. This is essentially a pressure tactic. Crown Prince Mohammed's political future does not depend on the Neom project, but on reducing or ending Saudi Arabia's dependence on oil. If the West and that lobby intend to pressure him to make decisions according to their wishes, Crown Prince Mohammed's past record indicates that this pressure will backfire and cause harm. Remember what happened in the past. Before Trump's arrival, there was pressure and demands in the US to allow lawsuits against the Saudi government for compensation related to 9/11. Trump, upon taking office, accused Saudi Arabia of funding radical madrasas and Islamic terrorism. Crown Prince Mohammed responded just as aggressively, openly admitting and counter-accusing the US of orchestrating and demanding these actions. Not limited to statements, he visited China and Russia, assured both countries of stopping all government and private funding for terrorism, and signed strategic and defense cooperation agreements with them, reducing Saudi dependence on the United States. As a result, the Trump administration accepted Saudi policy, leading to the Abraham Accords. The second episode occurred with Biden when he hinted at prosecuting MBS for the murder of Khashoggi and pressured King Salman to cancel Crown Prince Mohammed's designation as heir to the throne. Again, MBS responded firmly, leaning towards the Russian-Chinese camp, slowing progress on the Abraham Accords, refusing to condemn Russia for the Ukraine war, aligning oil production policies with Russia, and normalizing relations with Iran through Chinese mediation, all of which troubled the US and Israel. He even delayed Biden's request to visit Saudi Arabia until significant strategic decisions were made, leaving Biden with nothing to ask for during his visit. It appears Crown Prince Mohammed is retaliating to the pressure on the Neom project as well. However, future decisions will undoubtedly be influenced by Saudi interests. Renewing the defense agreement with the US seems unlikely because when the Kissinger-Faisal agreement was made, Saudi Arabia had no diplomatic relations with the Soviet Union, the US was the only superpower, and the West was the biggest buyer of Saudi oil. Now, the balance of power has shifted. The expected Western defeat in the Ukraine war is evident to all. Hamas has shattered the myth of Israel's invincible defense, and it is worried about a potential war with Hezbollah. The Russian-Chinese camp's footprint is visible in the Middle East, asserting their power. Currently, and in the coming times, the biggest buyers of Saudi oil are not the West, but China, India, and developing countries. The developed world is reducing its dependence on oil. In this context, it is highly likely that Saudi Arabia's inclination will be towards Russia and China. This potential realignment raises significant questions about the future of the United States and the US dollar. The dominance of the US dollar has long been tied to its role in global oil trade. If Saudi Arabia continues to diversify its oil sales in currencies like the yuan, this could challenge the dollar's supremacy. Furthermore, the US's geopolitical influence, traditionally bolstered by its close ties with Saudi Arabia, could wane. As the global economic and political landscape shifts, the United States may find itself needing to adapt to a new era of multipolarity, where its financial and strategic dominance is no longer assured. The choices made by Saudi Arabia in the coming years will be pivotal in shaping this new world order.